Great. So I'm going to disable everyone's microphone for now, and after the webinar, I'm going to enable it again. Right. All right. So, hi everybody. You're welcome to today's web series on hacking the blockchain. The last time we had a session, we introduced ourselves to what a blockchain is. We also laid out the benefits and also the disadvantages of a blockchain. We spoke about smart contracts being the soul of a blockchain, and we say smart contract as simple program that's stored on the blockchain and that only run when predetermined conditions are being met. So the smart contract run on the blockchain, and they are stored on a public database and that cannot be changed. Any information that is being put on the blockchain cannot be modified. So smart contracts are capable of storing ethers, uh, and ethers cost a lot of money, and that is why whenever we hear about a data breach, it's always involving millions or billions of dollars. And this is why smart contract auditing is really important, and that is the main aim of this web series. So our learning objectives for today is to introduce us to the different kind of tool we are going to be making use of, right? We are going to install a tool called MetaMask and create our first transaction. At the end of this class, we should be able to get free ethers to test our transaction. And we should also know how to interact with different blockchains. So we should know how to use Block Explorer to get reliable information about our transaction on the blockchain. And we should also be able to install the underlying technology of Ethereum blockchain, which is Go-ethereum. So the prerequisite of this course, I've said earlier, is not going to break your bank. The only thing you're going to be needing in this class is your browser, maybe Chrome, Firefox, and the likes of them, and very important, an internet connection. So let's jump into the course. So before we start with our MetaMask introduction, we need to get familiar with an IDE called Remix. So I'm going to open my browser and just browse to remix.ethereum. Sorry, ethereum.org. So when you go to remix.ethereum.org, you should be greeted with this kind of page, right? So Remix is a powerful open source tool that is going to help us to write our smart contract straight from the browser. You don't have to install Remix on your system. It only works on the browser. So it comes with different compilers for different Solidity version. If we go here, this part called compiler, will see different Solidity version here. And it's also built in with a blockchain simulation, which is this JavaScript VM. We have a JavaScript VM here. We have our injected Web3 and Web3 provider that is going to be integrated with MetaMask later. But for now, that's what we need to know. We need to know that we have a blockchain simulation here, and we know that Solidity have different kind of version, right? So you can actually install a lot of plugin, and you can integrate a lot of plugin into Solidity, and it also run on HTTP and HTTPS. If you see here now, you see that it's not secure. So this site is running on HTTP. So whenever you want to write a program or a smart contract using Remix, make sure that you check if you're using HTTP or HTTPS, because this is your address of your contract. Everything you write on your contract is on this address. So it's very important you know that. And again, when we go into private blockchain, we need to really understand how to use our HTTP and HTTPS, because we are going to require you to set up our cross-origin resource sharing. So we'll talk about that later in the course, but not now. Now let's just introduce ourselves to what Remix is and how to use Remix. So the first thing you need to do is, whenever you want to write your smart contract, is actually to create your file, your smart contract file. Let's assume that we want to write a smart contract called smart contract, right? So the extension, the last section is going to be in Sol because we are writing a Solidity smart contract. So the first thing we want to specify is the version of this of the Solidity that we want to write for our smart contract. And for Solidity, whenever you want a smart contract, whenever you want to specify the version, you do pragma Solidity. Then you're going to specify the version that you want to write the Solidity on. It's very, very important. Let's write our Solidity version on 0.6.0, and we want it to be greater than 0.6.0. I want to be lesser than 0.9.0. This is how to specify our version. And going forward in this web series, we understand how to work with different versions of Solidity, because Solidity is actually a very, very costly updated program. So you need to understand how to work with that different version. So the next thing we need to do is we need to define our smart contract. And starting the smart contract on Solidity starts with the name of the smart contract, like contract, then the name of the smart contract, right? Then now follow it with a semicolon. So let's say we want to write a contract named let's say my first. This is how to start a smart contract in Solidity. Your contract first, then the name of your contract, then you now end it with curly braces. Then you now follow by the content of your smart contract. So we won't spend more time talking about Remix today, but next week we are going to be playing with Remix a lot. So let's move on to the next slide, which is MetaMask introduction. So MetaMask is a browser plugin which can securely store your private keys and your public keys, and you can use it to connect to different blockchains. So we are going to be discussing the interworkings of MetaMask, but for now, we're just going to play around. So the first thing we need to do is we need to install MetaMask. So we can just go to metamask.io, download now, click on download now. So install MetaMask for Chrome. You can actually install MetaMask for any browser, for any kind of browser, Firefox, Brave, anyone, mention it. You can install MetaMask for it. We just wait a minute for MetaMask to install. Okay. So immediately this install is going to start a setup page, which we are going to follow the wizard throughout the setup and install MetaMask. Okay, yeah, great. We have our MetaMask on. So let's click on our MetaMask. So yeah, our setup page. So we'll follow the widget. So it's going to ask us a couple of questions. So it's going to ask us if we are new to MetaMask or if we already have a MetaMask account that we want to import wallet, but we don't have a MetaMask account yet, so we want to create one. So we just click on agree, we create our password. Okay, so we click on read the terms and agreement. Then we'll create our account. So next, it's going to tell us to secure our password, blah, blah, blah. We want to click on next. Then it's going to tell us to click this to reveal our secret word. So you need to on let's say you're installing MetaMask on your system and you want to actually fund your MetaMask with real Ether. You need to back up your phrase, and they're very, very important because your backup phrase is actually this word actually what is going to give you access back to your account, right? Backup phrase is just an algorithm that actually creates a number of private keys based on your um, backup phrase, right? So you need to um, keep them safe. You have to copy it and let's save it somewhere. Sorry, a minute. Okay, just save it here. So we click on next. So it's going to tell us to confirm our secret recovery phase. So the first one is sibling, smooth, sport, kind, excite, again, walk, tuition, prick, frequent, meal, and beyond. So confirm, and it's going to tell us congratulations, we've just created our MetaMask. So we don't need all this for now. Yeah. So we just created our MetaMask account, and if you come here, this is your Ethereum account. You can actually send real Ethereum to this account, and it's going to reflect here. So back to the slide. Let's move on. So if you've never worked with the blockchain before, the first thing you will notice is that there are different kind of blockchain. Let me open up my browser here. So if you come here, no, let's just use the MetaMask itself. So you notice that here there are different types of blockchain. So no, it's not showing here. Let's just turn on our test network. So let's close the setting. Yeah, there are different kind of test network here. So these test network are equivalent to you having different databases, right? But however, this Ethereum mainnet is the main database, right? We have different kind of network in the Ethereum network, as shown in the slide. You see that we have the mainnet, we have the testnet, we have the private net, and we have the in-memory simulation. So there are other blockchains that can be used to test various aspects. Let's assume that you're trying to develop an application on blockchain. You can use all these other test network, Ropsten, Kovan, Ringbeat, Collective Test Network, and so on and so forth. So each of these blockchain has a particular network ID. We're going to be talking about that next week when we fully introduce how to actually code smart contracts. So let's move on to the next slide. So Ropsten Test Network. So in this tutorial today, we are going to be using Ropsten Test Ether, and we are going to initiate a transaction with Ropsten Test Ether. So the screenshot here is just showing us how a Ropsten Test Network is, right? So let's move on to the next slide. So assuming we want to request for ethers for our application that want to build on blockchain or on smart contract, I want to test it like on the blockchain. So we cannot use our real Ethereum to carry out tests, right? It's not wise. So there's something called faucet. So faucet is just like a an ether, but it's just a test ether. So you cannot send faucet as money, but you can actually send faucet from one account. Maybe you want to use a Ropsten test network now. You can send a Ropsten faucet from one account to another account. So the first thing we need to do is to get a Ropsten faucet. We need to go to http then faucet.metamask.io. Okay, we can just type type on Google and let's Google do all the hard work for us. Okay, great. What? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Uh, okay, so I think their network is a bit down tonight. Let me see. Yeah, this is it. I'm sorry, my bad, my bad. So as I've said earlier, this faucet MetaMask only works with Ropsten test network. So my Ethereum or my MetaMask is still on the mainnet, right? It's still on the mainnet. We have to change it to Ropsten. So if we load this, yeah, we'll see that it automatically identifies our address. If you click on MetaMask, let's open MetaMask for a minute and let's check our address here. So you see that the address that is here is what is sorry, a minute. I don't know why it's not recognizing my address. I think my address is changed or something. Okay, so automatically is going to recognize our address, and we can just click on this button. Okay. Sorry, it's asking us to unlock our MetaMask. Okay, great. Connect. So we've connected already. So we can just request on Ether. I hope this is going to work. So that's how to request a test Ether for Ropsten test network. So for other test network, you can actually browse on Google on how to get Ether for other test network for Gweli, Ringby, and Cavern, right? But it's still going to work the same way as Ropsten is going to work. And to get Ether for Ropsten is actually pretty easy. So in few minutes, we are actually going to see this transaction here happening here. So in the next slide, so you might have heard that all the information on the blockchain is publicly available to everybody, right? So if I send a Bitcoin from myself, let's say I send it to Anthony, right? It is going to be visible to everybody on the network. So there is this specialized software that is used to track transactions, and they are called Block Explorer. Block Explorer are used to track every blockchain transaction. So one of them is called Etherscan, and this is the one we can see here. If we open our browser again, let's go to Etherscan, etherscan.io. Right? So we want to change our network here from Ethereum mainnet to Ropsten testnet because the transaction we actually made was in Ropsten testnet, right? So we want to go back here. Let's copy this address. Let's check if this address actually went through, because if this address actually went through, we're going to see it as it happens here on the blockchain. So let's click on this to search. Okay, so I think when is this? 14 minutes ago. This is our last transaction. It's still pending. That's why we don't have any Ether awarded to us here. Our Ether is in 0. So in few minutes, maybe before the end of this class, when we check again, we are going to see that we have how many Ether is faucet given? Faucet is given 1 Ether. So we are going to have 1 Ether on our Ropsten test network in few minutes, right? So and we can track the transaction here. So we can see that this is transaction from this person to this person, right? 1 Ether. So, and that is how to track any transaction on the blockchain. If you want to give it a try, maybe send Bitcoin or Ethereum to somebody. So now, what you need to copy is you need to copy the hash of that transaction, or you need to copy the um, the the account of that person, the Ethereum account of that person, and you're going to paste it on the blockchain. So when you place it on the blockchain, it's going to give you everything, how it's happening on the blockchain. You'll be able to see how it happens on the blockchain. So let's move on to the next slide. So tracking our first transaction on Ropsten Ethereum network is what we are going to do next, but I'm not sure that our transaction has actually completed here. Still pending. So we have 60 minutes to go, right? We have 60 minutes to go. So I think we'll come back for that. So, but this is actually how to track your transaction on the blockchain. So just give the transaction hash or the address of the sender or the receiver. You're going to see everything as it happened on the blockchain. So let's move on. All right, so this is the screenshot of a transaction I made that was successful, right? Sorry, Emily. Okay. So as said in our earlier class, you can actually view your transaction as it happened. Right? We said it in our first class. So now that we know how to test Ether, how to request for test Ether, and how to track our transaction on the Block Explorer, we'll now move on to how to set up a local blockchain. Right. So we'll wait a few minutes, maybe before the end of the class. We are going to check our MetaMask again, and we are going to see that our faucet are actually send 1 Ether to our Ropsten test network. So let's move on. So when a user carries out an action on our application, it is going to be recorded on the blockchain as a transaction, as long as that application is using a blockchain or is a DLT application, right? Maybe a DeFi, maybe an NFT or anything. Any action you carry on the application that uses blockchain is recorded as a transaction. So this transaction is not going to be added to the blockchain immediately. So instead, it is going to be sent to a queue of network with other pending transactions. So after sending that transaction, it is going to wait till a miner that has 51% power on the blockchain is going to confirm that transaction as a valid transaction. And immediately that transaction is being confirmed by the miner, it is going to be added to the blockchain. And the information is going to be updated within or throughout the nodes on the blockchain. So if there is 1,000 nodes on the blockchain, immediately we carry out the transaction, it is going to be recorded on those 1,000 nodes on the blockchain. So Ethereum network also represented a lot of nodes, thousands of servers. So your nodes are your servers, right? But we don't have thousands of servers just lying around that we can use to test, right? We don't want to waste on external server. We just need something that is going to help us simulate a blockchain. And that is why we are going to be using ganache, as you can see it on the slide. So we are going to use ganache to simulate our own Ethereum network. So it's going to be a standalone application that can create an Ethereum test network on your own workstation, on your own PC. So to install ganache, we have to go to this website. Sorry. We have to go to, or we can just type on Google, download ganache. We have to go to truffle.com to download ganache. So you can download for any of your OS, maybe Linux or Mac or whatever. So I'm using Windows. I already have this installed on my PC, so I don't have to install it again. But let me just give me a minute. Let me just start my ganache up. Sorry, a minute. Ganache. Uh, Sorry, it's coming up. It's coming up anytime soon. And this is ganache. This is how ganache looks like. So let's open up one of the profiles I've created already for some of my tests. It's loading. Just a minute. Oh, why is it taking so much time to load? Sorry. Okay, yeah. So, and this is how ganache look like. So this is actually addresses that we can actually use, right? This is, if a block is being created, this is where it's going to be added, right? It's going to give you the time stamp, the gas used to create that block. So every transaction on the blockchain actually costs money, right? Called gas. We are still going to be explaining that from next week. So your transaction, any transaction you carry out is going to be here. Your smart contract is going to be here. We are going to be using this ganache for our blockchain development, because we're going to do a little blockchain development before talking about blockchain vulnerabilities, right? So get used to ganache, know how to use ganache very well. So let's continue. So the next thing we need to do is to install npm, right? You can install npm by going to this site, right, on the slide, right? So npm is a package that comes with Node.js, which means that before you be able to use npm, you have to install Node.js. Immediately you install Node.js, you have npm. So you can just do node-v to check the version of your node and npm-v to check the version of your npm. And again, we have to install the truffle framework, right? We have to install the truffle framework. So a truffle framework is an Ethereum development framework that makes it easier for us to do things. Like, it's going to make it easier for us to compile our contract. It's going to make it very easy for us to interact with the blockchain network. And it's also going to make it very easy for us to migrate our contracts to the Ethereum network. So for this, we are going to open our terminal and use npm to install truffle using the following command: npm-j install truffle. So there are some times that you actually get error, especially when you're using a Windows system, right? So there's something called yarn. I forgot to actually include it into this slide. So should, in case you have any issue installing truffle, you can use npm to install yarn the same way you install truffle. Instead of truffle, you install yarn, yarn. So after installing yarn, then you can now use yarn to install truffle. You can browse on Google on how to use that. So now we are going to set up our last arsenal for today, which is the Go-ethereum, right? So Go-ethereum is one of the three original implementation of Ethereum, alongside with C++ and Python, right? So it's one of the original implementation of the Ethereum protocol, and it is one of the underlying technology of Ethereum blockchain. So we need to install that too, right? So there's a link on the slide. You can actually click on it to install for your operating system. So after installing get on your operating system, you can do get help, and you can type here to start get. Let's assume that we want to we want to start a local blockchain. So we can confirm that we have get installed, right? Get -v. So we have get installed, and these are all the switches we can actually assign with get. So we can start a local Ropsten network as we've started here. right? As we started here, this transaction is still going on. So as we started a Ropsten test network here, let's check this. Why still pending? We have 6 more minutes to go. Okay. So we can actually use get to also start our local Ropsten network by doing get Ropsten account, then new. So we need to create a password for account. Remember, you should not forget your password for this account. I'm just going to use test 123 again. Test 123, and it's going to generate a new address for us. So the public address of this key is here, and we are going to find the secret file, the secret key file in this particular file here, following this directory, right? So we can also check the list of the addresses we have on our get, right? We can use get the same command we just ran, but with the list to list all the Ropsten test network accounts we have on our local network. So as you can see here, we have how many? We have 2. Account 1 have 50 Ether less than 0.0. So yeah, this is how to create your account using Go-ethereum, and this is how to list out your account. So we want to leave here. And let's go back to the slide, right? So how to create new account on your Ropsten test network. So you can actually create more than one account on your Ropsten test network, right? So in a part of this series, we're going to send some Ether from one account to another, right? And we don't want to waste Ether, obviously, and that is why we're using our test network, right? So we are sending the Ether between our accounts. So on the Ropsten test network, you can have more than one account. Let me open my MetaMask again. So if you click on our MetaMask, so on this screenshot, you can see that I have more than one account. I have like 3 accounts. Sorry. I have like 3 accounts on my Ropsten test network. So to create another account, all you have to do is go to your Ropsten test network, click this icon here, and click on create account. So give your second account a name and give it account 2. Click on create. Now you have 2 accounts, right? We have account 2 and we have account 1. So you can actually send Ether from one account to another account. Oh Lord, why is this thing wasting our time? So let's reload this again. Let's reload this again. This is our address, right? Okay, this is our address, the user. So this is for our faucet address, and this is our user address. We can see 0x66, 0x66e. So let's request one Ether from this one again. So, and I've said earlier, you can still confirm this transaction on the blockchain. All you have to do is go to Ropsten etherscan.io, put maybe the faucet address or your own address, right? And it's going to tell you that, okay, this is the transaction we try to carry out like few seconds ago. Is this it? 0x66. I think somebody else requested for Ether. So let's request again and see. Let's click it again and see. So let's reload this. Oh. So sometimes it's actually like this. It's going to stress you out a little before it works. Well, it's definitely going to work, right? It's definitely going to work. So we're supposed to send Ether from one account to another. So what I'm going to do is I have some Ether on my other Gmail account. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here. I'm going to open my MetaMask. It's going to ask me for my password. I'm going to input my password. Unlock it. I'm going to change from the mainnet. As I said earlier, we have different kind of network on the blockchain. We have the main network, we have the test network, we have the private network, right? So we are going to change to our Ropsten test network. And let's see. Yes, we have 5 ethers here, right? So we are going to use this account. We have 5 ethers here. So on my MetaMask, on my Ropsten test network, I actually have one on one account. I have multiple accounts. I have like 4 accounts. So, and in our lab, what we want to do is we want to send Ether from one account to another and we want to confirm it on the blockchain. So, let's say we want to send account to this account, we want to send Ether to this account. What we have to do is come here, copy the address, then go back to our account where we want to send the money to, then click on send, paste our address here, right? Immediately it's going to identify your ETH account balance, right? And it's going to ask you how much you want to send. Let's say you want to send 0.5 Ether, then we click on next, right? So if we go back to our slide, let's go back to our slide. If we go back to our slide, we're going to see the procedure of actually carrying out this transaction, right? This is procedure of carrying out this transaction. So let's go back to our blockchain transaction that we're actually carrying out. So if we look here, we are actually going to see that it has an estimated gas fee. And this estimated gas fee counts every second, like it changes every second. So that's why I say that every transaction you actually make on the blockchain, you have to pay for it. You have to pay a little bit of Ether for it, right? So, and we have the total amount. So let's confirm this. So immediately we confirm this, we can copy our address, go to Ropsten, etherscan.io, and paste our address here, attach. So it's going to tell us that okay, we have a transaction 40 seconds ago. So these are all the transactions I've made on this Ropsten account. So we just initiated this account, this transaction. We can click on it, and it's success already. So if we click on our MetaMask and click on our account tree, our account tree should have ethers on it now. Yes, if you can see now, we have 0.5 ethers on our account tree. So there's a lot of things you need to actually notice when you're actually sending a transaction. You notice that during the transaction details, you have something called the nonce, right? Let me see. Click here. Click more details. Okay. Let's check it here. A minute. So yeah. So we have the nonce here, as you can see here. So the nonce is always increasing, is an ever increasing number that is going to depict how transactions were sent from your account to another account, right? So we have the amount, that's the amount of Ether you're actually sending out. We have the gas, which is, as I said earlier, which is the money you need to pay to carry out the transaction on the blockchain. We have our base fee or our priority fee, which is not here. So our priority fee is like the money we need to pay. Like it's just like our utility bill that we're paying, right? We need to pay that too. And we have the total amount of the Ether sent that is with the gas fee included. So with the gas fee, with the base fee, everything, this is the total amount of Ether that was sent. So more we are going to be actually discussing more on this in our previous classes. So the main aim of this class today is to just introduce us to the arsenal that we are going to be needing whenever we are carrying out any transaction on the blockchain, right? So if you want to see any transaction on the blockchain, as we said earlier, all you have to do is just um, go to the block explorer and paste your blockchain. And there's another way you can do it. You can actually come here, click on your MetaMask, then look for the last transaction. Then you can click on View on Block Explorer. So it's going to take you to Block Explorer, and you can view all these things online. Okay, I forgot to say it earlier. Our test network are still online. You can view them online. But when we start working with Ganache and we start working with our Get, we can't view them online because it's not online. It's on our local PC. We are trying to simulate the local blockchain on our PC, right? So this is where we're going to be dropping the curtain today. This is a very, very short class that is actually aimed at introducing us to the arsenal and the tool we need and how to set them up. So next week we are going to go fully into the development of smart contracts. We are going to be writing our first smart contract using Solidity, which is our smart contract programming language, and our IDE, which is Remix, right? So thank you very much for attending the short class today, and I'm sorry for keeping us waiting for so long. So there are some things we had to attend to. That's why we were not able to actually um, carry out our classes. So, well, starting from this week to next week and whenever we are on standby, every Wednesday, 11 p.m., we'll have our classes. So, if anybody has a question now, I would like to have a question. Thank you very, very much. So, I'm going to open the floor for question now. You can ask your questions, your additions, your objections. I would like to hear from you. Thank you very much. Hello, guys. Are we here? Oh, okay. Okay. So, Mr. Kimberly is none from him. Peace, Anthony, Fumilayo, any questions? Okay, great. So, okay, okay. Sorry, go on. No, 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 no. That's why I said when we started the class that we have different kind of network on the blockchain, right? We have our main net. This is our main net. As you can see, I have 0 Ether on my main net. This is the real Ethereum, right? But we also have our test net, which is this Ropsten. We have our Kovan, we have our Ringby, which is our test net. It is not real, but you can still view it on the blockchain. So every transaction you made using your test network can be viewed on the blockchain. You can view it on Block Explorer and see how your transaction is being carried out. But you cannot, it's not a real Ethereum. You can only use it for development purposes and nothing else. All right, thank you. So any other question? Okay. Thank you very much, guys, for attending this class today. And we are going to continue when we meet next week. And please be prepared to write some code, your first smart contract next week. It's going to be fun. We're going to make it fun. So thank you very much. Have a long, wonderful night rest. Ciao. Cheers. Bye.